Welcome to this video where we're going to be discussing SI units. So I'll just write that down, SI units. Well, what do SI units stand for? What does the S and what do the I stand for? Well, I'm glad you asked. S stands for standard. Now, if I had a standard for us driving on the road in a car in Australia, the first standard is that we drive on the left hand side of the road, because if we had a standard that we drove on either side of the road, depending on the way you actually felt for that particular day, would have a lot of car accidents and deaths on the road. So we have a standard. That standard is we only drive in Australia on the left hand side of the road. That's the same in the UK, but it's different in America. Their standard is you drive on the right hand side of the road. So it's a standard that we all fit to in a particular country. But this goes further, SI units, because I stands for international. Now, we know that in Australia we drive on the left hand side of the road. In America we drive on the right hand side of the road, and it's different for every single country. It's either the left or the right hand side, but we have these units which are international. So the units that we use international. Let me give you an example of that. Now, here's a house, and I want to work out how wide the front of this house is. Now, I don't have any particular units, so what I thought would be a good idea is that I work out how wide this house is by kittens, because kittens are sort of cute. So my unit to working out how wide this house is going to be working out how many kittens wide this house is, because kittens are really cute and I want to use that. So I drag these up, and I think that this house is 2, let me just select something, 2 and I'd say a half kittens wide. Now, you know that's just absolutely ridiculous, because no one has a whole bunch of kittens that they can just line up in front of a house, let alone if they're measuring anything else like a television screen or a desk or anything. So, and also the other issues with kittens are there's different species of kittens. Some kittens are bigger than other kittens, so it's not a great standard that we can use. So we use standard international units. And here's some examples here. And we know that the standard international unit for length is meters. It's not kittens. It's not the size of your feet. It's not the size of your palm. It's not the size of the king's nose. It is meters, and we all use that standard. It's an international standard that we use for a quantity. Now, so we have a whole variety of different types of quantities that we have units for, international units for. For time, we use an international unit for seconds. We can also measure it, can't we, in minutes and hours. But when we're using it in physics, when we're using it in engineering, we use an SI unit, because that needs to be put in that unit needs to be put into a formula. So when we're using these formulas, we need to use all these particular units. We can see here for mass, we use kilograms. For area, we use meters squared, and so on and so forth. For force, we use newtons. So we have all these special standard international units that we use when we're plugging it into formulas. Now, we have a whole variety of formulas, and we haven't even started speaking about that yet. But in the next video, what I'm going to talk to you about is how do we simplify sometimes when we get really large numbers or really small numbers, and how do we use a thing called SI prefixes, which is standard international prefixes. But that's in the next video. So if you want, you can move on to that now.